What up, fan Batardians? We are back. How you doing, Bryan?
What up, what up, what up? We are back, Fleb Universe. Nathan, Nasty Nate, how are you, sir? I'm good.
I am doing well. It's good to be back after about 2 weeks off. And, where we last left off, I don't remember if that made it in the episode or not, where you asked me if I was going to Vegas. And I was like, I don't know if that's going to happen because I had a whole...
That's a good question. So for those that don't know, Nathan specifically said to me, no, I will not be going. I got some personal things.
Don't want to leave. I'll be going.
Let me finish. You can't say otherwise. I know what you said. You said, I know I should be going because it's the closest it'll ever be. I really want to go. Yeah. I would love to go. I kind of feel obligated to be there, but I don't want to leave the missus at home with the kids. And, I'm going to have to sit this one out. And I said, all right, makes sense. I'm not even going to try to push it any further. Cool. Fast forward to last week, and guess what my timeline shows? It doesn't show just the Hee Haw 3 being an overall success. No, it doesn't show Dan's embarrassment referring to a Wu-Tang member that isn't there. No, it shows Nathan posting pictures from a first-person perspective. What say you, sir?
Well, sir, I did have this whole convoluted plan, or maybe not convoluted, but complicated plan of where I was going to wake up at like 5 a.m., drop my kids off, my two older kids off at daycare, drive to Las Vegas, catch the shows, hop back in my car, drive back at like 1 or so in time to pick my other kids up before their daycare closed, and then like do Mas Vegas that way. And I was like, can't do that. That's a long time to leave my wife.
How far is Vegas from you driving?
It's 3 hours. It's about 3 hours and 40 minutes, depending on traffic.
Ooh,
so
that's not. I can see why that's a thought. That's not bad.
Yeah, it's not. I would have done it, but I talked to my wife like, hey, because this was her third C-section. Recovering, I was like, I didn't feel comfortable leaving her, and I was like, hey, I do kind of like really want to go, and she's like, well, why don't we just take everybody? So we had some credits, found a hotel, booked that bad boy up, and took the whole family to Las Vegas.
Vegas.
She somehow managed to watch all the kids and kept them in the hotel room because she couldn't, she's still recovering. Like the only thing she's allowed to carry is the baby, so she couldn't take him out of the room. So I would go to the show in the morning, and then I didn't stick around too long because I had my whole family, stuck in a hotel room while I was living the life, catching the Hee Haw 3.
Kissing babies that weren't yours.
Mm-hmm. Kissing babies that I didn't kiss any babies.
Nice. And in a very male way to look at it, in how we tend to spin things as a positive. And she probably wanted to get out of the house. She probably wanted to go smell some new air, with things being kind of all home focused after the new baby. So you know what? You did everyone a favor.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, they were like, that was why I didn't stick around too long after the show. I have done like Moss as well. So, and through the podcast, I've met most of the people. So I said hi to them after Thursday's show. Friday's show, I just finished it and I got out of there because I was like, I can't stick around forever because I would just feel like so bad that this whole entire time, so long, all the family. So Friday I just bounced like right when the show ended, but I did manage to pick up a mystery bag, which I figure, hey, let's open this bad boy up on the show, and if there's some things in here, I'll give them away to some fans. You might be wondering, Nathan, how could I get some of the things that are in this bag? What would I need to do to get this mystery bag? Yeah, well, folks, all I'm gonna ask that people do is you subscribe to us on YouTube and you follow us wherever you get your podcasts. Those two things. That's it. If you want to,
can we throw one more thing in there?
Sure.
You have to follow us on your main social of choosing.
Mm-hmm. Where can people find you?
I'm not going to hit you with the Instagram, Snapchat, Twitter, Tumblr, Pinterest, OnlyFans. No, I think that's ridiculous sometimes. If you mainly on Twitter, follow the Fan Le Batard Show on Twitter. If you mainly on Instagram, follow the Fan Le Batard Show on Instagram. See, I messed it up myself. But yeah, so just show some love. And you can win some wonderful swag on part of Nathan, by part of the Fan Le Batard Show. Now, before we get into this, because I already said before we got into this that this is going to be an ISO play, right? Our offense is stymied. You are our bucket getter right now. So this whole episode is going to be about you giving us the breakdown. But before we get into that, let's just get the big topic out of the way. The Super Bowl, okay?
Yeah, got to get that out of the way.
We all watched it. We all watched it. We know what happened. We know what transpired. I think for the most part, this is one of the few Super Bowls where no one's thought on what could have happened changed after the Super Bowl. Like, some Super Bowls legacies are made, some are destroyed. This really didn't move the needle for me in any way, shape, or form, and just kind of confirmed things that I already felt. So I know you wanted to speak specifically about who gets the credit. Nathan, who gets the credit for either the Super Bowl win by the Chiefs or the Super Bowl loss by the Niners?
First off, I just want to give myself some credit because I said some things that I feel personally, wow, Nathan, you were so close. Good job. Just want to pat myself on the back. I said the score would be 23-26. I did say 49ers, but it ended up being 22-25 Chiefs. So good on me, right? And pretty far along into this game, Bryan, tell me that Jawan Jennings was not a top candidate for MVP for the 49ers. Tell me I'm wrong.
Is this where I insert my 10 out of 11 leg parlay that I almost hit?
Oh,
why,
man.
Who gives a credit? Who gives credit for something you almost get right?
Happened. Sure, Bryan.
This is sports. Everything is almost, okay?
Sure. Yeah. You got me there. So this is what I'm thinking. Everybody that's been talking about the Super Bowl has said, like, should it be the defense that gets the credit or should it be Patrick Mahomes that gets the credit? Like, the defense is going to be forgotten. I haven't heard too many people, though, talk about Andy Reid. So for me, there's like three people. Who gets the credit? Andy Reid, Patrick Mahomes, or the defense, right? And for me,
you got a pie here. Are you going to pie it?
Pie chart it? Honestly, there was something I saw that made me go like, you know what? I think Andy Reid deserves to be in the mentions a lot more. I think when you look at Shanahan is considered this young offensive genius. I think if you look at the game, Andy Reid, like, I don't think people talk about him honestly enough about how much of an offensive genius he is, because when the Chiefs needed plays, they got them easily. And you could say that that's Patrick Mahomes doing it, but you could also say that's Andy Reid drawing up plays that just could not be stopped. That 4th and 1 in overtime. So how many teams are just doing the tush push, lining up, and we're just going to out physical you? Mm-hmm. Not Andy Reid, and they get it no sweat. At no point were you like, oh man, 49ers almost stopped that. And then you look at the game-winning touchdown play. If you guys, I go back and watch it, watch what Travis Kelce does on that play. He doesn't do anything. He's actually watching the Jumbotron. He just gets out of his stance and runs towards a 49er guy, doesn't really even block him, just gets in his way. But the whole time, he's looking at the Jumbotron. And for me, that's like Andy Reid drew up a play that was so easy that Travis Kelce just needs to get out of his stance and he can watch the Jumbotron and see them win the game. Like, come on. Andy Reid Give him a
look
big
at that,
chunk of this pie chart.
I see that. It continues with what you're saying, but I think it also highlights the confidence that Travis Kelce has in his coach and in his quarterback. Because when you see most athletes in those positions, you see an X receiver looking across the formation at the Z and the play's hiked, and you can already see him looking because he knows where the ball's going. And depending on the result, his reaction is visible. He's not even looking at the jumbo. He's like, he dropped it. He should have threw it to me. That's how most players are in the league. And I get it. You want the ball because you feel like you can make everything happen. But by Travis Kelce going, I don't even need to stare at Mecole Hardman because I have so much trust that even if they drop this, even if this isn't complete, even if we lose the game, I'm not blaming my coach and I'm not blaming my quarterback because I have trust in them two entirely. It's like turning your face when a kick goes up because you just know it's going through the uprights because you don't got to watch it. I think Travis Kelce's interaction with Andy Reid in the beginning of the game did a great job at setting this tone for, ooh, they better not lose. And they didn't. And they did it. And the cachet that he cashed in by going from, oh my God, is this the event that leads to Kelce's demise, is a face full of love that everyone has on commercials and Taylor Swift and da-da-da-da-da. No, it actually, like, he doubled down on triple zeros. I know there's not triple zeros at the roulette table, but double zeros at the roulette table with everything he had, and it paid off tremendously for him. But I think your point of Andy Reid not being mentioned enough is up there because we've been hearing about this offense being dumbed down a lot since the midway point of the season. And there's a lot of offenses in the NFL that are run as dumbed down versions of offenses because the OC don't trust the quarterback. The quarterback don't trust the OC. The OC and quarterback don't trust the coach. The coach don't trust the weak. There's a bunch of these kind of like milquetoast offenses. Andy Reid's don't look like none of theirs. So for him to be able to have these game plans, devise these game plans, implement these game plans while still somehow making it look fresh, new, exciting, and Super Bowl worthy, is kudos to him. If I had a hat on, I'd take it off to Andy Reid. To me, I'm going 33, 1% Harrison Butker. No, 0.1% Harrison Butker. That's my pie chart.
My pie chart, here it is. I'm going 40 to Patrick Mahomes.
Okay.
38 to Andy Reid.
Okay.
And then that leaves me with 22 for the defense.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe that's too much because the defense did, like, Patrick Mahomes never gets the ball if on that 3rd and 4 late in the 4th, like, Spags doesn't call up a blitz but to me, that's where, like, Andy Reid comes in. And that's it. Yeah. Like, sure, throughout the game, there were times where things didn't go the Chiefs' way, but I can't think of a play where it was like that play never had a chance. Like on the 2 plays where the 49ers had to have it, that 3rd and 4 and the down by the goal line on 3rd down, it didn't feel like, it just felt like the D blew that play up and there was no chance that was there. Like on plays where the Chiefs got stopped, it was like, yeah, the 49ers did play well, but like, Patrick Mahomes had an opportunity to scramble and it just didn't happen. Like
self-committed penalties, fumbles.
Yeah, it didn't feel the same. Like
MVS
those 2
running backwards. Yeah.
Those 2 key plays, like it was just like, they didn't stand a chance because of what the defense did. But when the Chiefs needed it, like they not only got it, it looked easy.
Yeah.
And I came into the game, I was rooting 49ers, I had them picked, but it was one of those games where, like, I don't know if you ever had this where like you pick one team, but you don't really care. And honestly, when Patrick Mahomes got the ball, I was just like, I was rooting for him to score, to tie it up, to win the game too. And when he won, I was like, dang, like he does this again. And speaking of credit, Bryan, I need to give you credit here. You've said something. The 49ers are the Boston Celtics. And I push back on that, sir. But I think it's official. Like, they are 100% the Boston Celtics. And it's because of this Kyle Shanahan guy who doubles down. Like, I don't care whether or not he knew the rules, but just the fact of saying we were playing for the third possession without realizing, like, if you get a third possession, it's because, like, the other team allowed it to happen. The other team chose to give you a third possession, right? They chose to kick a field goal, or, you know, they chose to punt and give you the ball back and nobody scored. You're only getting a third possession if either, one, you stop them when you need to, or two, the other team just decides, like, okay, like the whole we were playing for a third possession, that even is a strategy, and it doesn't come across of like, dude, if you have the ball second, during that time when you have the ball, you have all the power to dictate how the game goes. It's all on your ability. So if you have the ball second, especially in the NFL new playoff overtime rules, if you're second, all the power is yours. It's 100% up to you how this game goes. And sure, you got to stop them, but you can't stop them from, you know, if you both score touchdowns, you can't stop them from going for two. Like, I would imagine if we eventually see more overtime games, like, I don't think very many teams are going to opt to kick an extra point and give the team the ball back to where all they need to do is get a field goal, when we know how overtime goes. Like, both teams are just gassed. Like, you know, most of the time that field goal isn't a hard thing to get. So anyway,
if you're banking on a stop, then why didn't you go for it on fourth down and then force the Chiefs to have to go the entirety? Shout out to Jericho. Go the entirety of the field. If they were going to go the entirety of the field, then they were going to do that regardless of if you went for it on fourth or not. So the concept of I just and I don't like. I love it because as a Cowboys fan, I love it all. Every time I see a Niners anything go that way,
I got to give you your props, Bryan.
I don't like what his players did. I don't care what you know. I don't care what you don't know. What you don't say immediately after the game is over is, we didn't know what we was doing. Just, it didn't work out our way. We should have got a stop. We couldn't. Hats off to them. We'll hit the offseason and do some things better. The fact that they couldn't get that one staple message across the board kind of hints that some changes are coming in the offseason for the 49ers. So
yeah, they already fired their D coordinator from what I saw. But you know how I am with reading notifications or stuff. I sometimes get the opposite.
Yeah. So with this being said, is there anything else left that you want to touch on the Super Bowl?
No, I Super Bowl wise, I just wanted to give Andy Reid some props because I felt like that was something that I didn't hear in a lot of conversations of just how easy the plays were. And when I saw, like, because it was like an Instagram reel or whatever, like Travis Kelce watched the Jumbotron, and I watched that. I'm like, you're drawing up plays where players can just watch the Jumbotron and score. Like, nobody was watching the Jumbotron on the 49ers plays because they were getting blown up. They were not, like, whatever it was, like, sorry, they got blown up.
Well, no, they were watching the Jumbotron because isn't that how some of them learn how the overtime rules work?
Yeah, I guess so.
All right, so listen, it's time. Arguably one of the most tantalizing things I've ever seen when it came to the Dan Le Batard show in terms of the Dan Le Batard show, excuse me, when it comes to their interaction with their fans is Viva Mas Vegas. I watched every piece of content that came away from this. I am excited to hear everything you got to say. So with that being said, Nasty Nate, before we give some stuff away, the floor is yours. Hit us with it all.
I think I'm going to actually open like one thing up here and like open it up as I go for people. So again, this is a mystery bag that I bought. They had a merch store at Viva Mas Vegas, and first day they're like, oh, we're all out of mystery bags. I'm like, oh. So next day I showed up, they had 2 left, and I quick swiped in, pounced one, refrained. I didn't open it. I don't know what's in this, although my wife kind of spoiled it and said, what's up with that bag on your computer that has a football inside it? And I was like, honey.
Wife.
So there's a football in here, but there's other stuff. Mystery bag. And I thought, you know what? Let's open this up on the show. And some of these things, I want to find like one thing in here that I'm going to keep for myself. But the rest, I'm going to give away to fans who, again, all you need to do, just subscribe to our YouTube and subscribe wherever we get podcasts. Send me like a screenshot of you subscribing to either of those on Twitter at ShaveStop, and like your code word. I'll tell you a code word to add to that. You can tell me what you want, and then first people that send it to me, you got a good chance. So here we go. Let's open this up, and I guess we'll go with the first thing. Yep, there's definitely a football in here, and it's autographed.
Signed. Who is it signed by?
Well, I looks like it's got a Billy Gill. I think it's signed by the entire show here.
Wow.
Chris Cody, see him there. Okay. So I'm definitely going to give this away because I actually, when I was at Moss last year, I already got everybody's autographs on their for your consideration Grammy thing. So if you want a signed football, right here, you just subscribe, hit us up.
And the mystery word is the brand of the football that Nasty Nate displayed. If you hit him with that, you can get J. Cole's autograph. This is J. Cole on the front, right?
That's what it is.
Oh, no, this is Coat.
Oh,
is
I bet that's Greg Cody right there.
Oh, got you.
Chris Cody, is that what?
Dang, his signature, his autograph looked like someone who's been going through something this year.
I saw. Oh, is that? No, I think
that's a good signature.
That's a good one, yeah.
Lucy?
Especially for on a football.
Lucy?
Maybe. Oh, that's Jess.
Come on, guys, y'all could have took up some more space on this football.
Chris Cody's right there. That's Chris Cody.
There you go, CC. Listen, don't forget, we got a lot of fans on IG. We got a lot of fans on our YouTube page. For those who couldn't make it here for the live chat, the live stream, we understand there will be some stuff, once again, available. So if you don't get it on the live chat, but then you hear this or you view it, he already gave you the rules.
Yeah.
Hopefully this is pointing to, he already gave you the rules.
So let's talk about Moss. First off, I loved it. For me, if you're a fan of the show, you got to find opportunity to hang out with the show at one of their events. They're very personable. They always make time for fans. So I always appreciate that. And just they're all very kind, like nice people. And the chance to just catch the show live is a lot of fun. You can kind of see them like interact with each other during the show and stuff. And my first takeaway, Bryan, from Viva Mas Vegas is, man, the Dan Batard show is really long. I gotta stand for really long. I usually listen to the show at like 2.5 times speed, 3 times speed. I'm like, whoa. When they came back the first day and did a bonus segment, I kept being like, man, 12 minutes, Bryan, is a really long time if you just listen to it as 12 minutes at 1 time speed. So first observation, show is a long show, man. Yeah. I don't know how people make it have enough time to like actually listen to it at 1 time speed. I'm like 2 times speed is when I'm luxurious now. I don't have time for stuff slower than that, especially with 3 kids. Next observation that I have here. The produced segments. I was really impressed by, they got to Vegas early, and throughout the show, they had several, like, you know, they had the Hee Haw 3 that they opened it up with, of like, here's kind of a riff on like a greatest hits, like CD commercial, like a Now That's Music.
Don't tell me you bought that.
No, I didn't. You couldn't buy that.
Okay.
It was fake, but I was like really impressed with the production elements. And if you were there, like, it was really impressive. Like they had 2 stages like built there. They had cameras on cranes, cameras on all this other stuff, other people walking around with cameras, other people walking around with other stuff. Like, the production and the work that went into this was massive. And I was really impressed by that. And as someone who was there, like, I did actually go and like check out the YouTube stuff, and I scrolled through the comments, and so many people just like bag on the video team and the production team for like the glitches that they have, and like, oh, typical Le Batard, like, how about fire them, hire some professionals. And I want to stand up for the video team. And as someone who, I have a tiny bit of video stuff in my background and know like what it takes to, I've done like a handful of weddings as a videographer, and knowing like the work that goes into like shooting a whole day thing and then editing that and putting that into a clip and all that, and getting that done in a matter of days, and then running that into a show like seamlessly, that they didn't have any troubles the second day. And the only issues they had was Dan's mic on the first day. And everyone's like, oh, typical Le Batard, like not professional, of like noticing the one thing instead of noticing like literally the thousands of things that are done, and like done really, really well. Like, you know, going out to the streets with Juju and Lucy and cutting that up into segments with like, people don't understand how hard that is to do that, to get good audio on that and to get good visuals on that, because there's so many things that you have to factor in of like when you're editing that to get the color correct, because it's Vegas, you got so many lights on you. Just like, I was really impressed with the video team, and I wanted to give them a little bit of a shout out, because people bag on them, and I think the video team was fantastic with everything they did, and it was really impressive everything they did. So that's my second takeaway.
You got to that point, what the video team does on live spots and live shows like that, it's nothing compared to what they don't do in a studio. Not having the right video queued up because of whatever reason, that's different. I'm not, whatever. If y'all guys want to bag on them for that, okay, I don't care. Not getting a segment edited and out to the public, because we always hear about things that were shot and they never got edited, whatever, bag on them for that. But the work, to your point, the work that needs to be done to get these things from a concept to shot to produce to edit it to air in a 24-hour turnaround is phenomenal. So to your point, someone who watched it from home, no qualms or quaints at all with the video. The only hilarity is the fact that Dan's mic didn't work, because it's like, y'all got 58 people up there with microphones. None of them are more important than Dan. Yet his microphone, I'm convinced it was a bit.
And if you caught it, like, part of the problems he was having with not being able to hear people was he just didn't hit the button to turn on his audio. He just had to hit the program button. That was why first. Anyway.
One of our live commenters asked you, what was your favorite segment?
There's so many to choose from. If I go guests, like, I think the guest who did the best was Sebastian Maniscalco. He was fabulous. He was hilarious. And out of all the guests, I thought you could tell he was the most who like knew how to like play to the crowd, because they'd ask him questions and you could see he would talk, but he'd also turn and like make contact with the crowd. So he was connecting with the crowd.
He was a comedian.
And yeah, he was fantastic. Dominique Foxworth, also fantastic. Like, Dominique is so talented. Like, when you just see these people come on the show, like when Dominique came on, took over the show right away. Like, he was fantastic as a guest. Like, those two really stood out to me as a guest. Greg Cody doing the Vegas back in my day was really good. Stu Gotz's Las Vegas observations were really good, because I don't think they it came across as much in the YouTube, but the crowd was actually booing him during his Las Vegas observations because he was ripping on Vegas. He was actually getting like people being like, "What? Boo!" It was like good natured, but he was like riling up the audience with his like, get me out of Vegas stuff. We got our live commenter Jericho mentioned Carrot Top. I thought Carrot Top was really good. It was funny. Him struggling to do the Trump impression really got me. So I think
Carrot Top is hard for me to look at. I'm sorry,
he's weathered.
He looks like he drove cross country with his face out the window. Like he looks like he's just been through it. And I feel sorry for him because I feel like this is all he knows. Shout out to Carrot Top.
So, ladies and gentlemen, the next and final item in this mystery bag, which I will also
there's only two items
giving
in the
away.
mystery bag?
Yeah, I guess since it's had the football, I thought it might have a little small knickknacks in there too.
That's such a Levitard gift bag.
I mean, look, an autographed football by everybody on the show for only $30. I think
you're right. That's pretty good.
That's pretty good. So the fact we're gonna give that away to somebody. Here's the other one. Do you need something to carry that in?
Is that a tote?
It is. It's a little tote bag.
It's a tote. Little tote bag, tote in it. Might not be a good choice of words after the shooting yesterday. Thoughts and prayers go out to everyone affected.
Yes.
I know thoughts and prayers don't do much these days, but definitely don't become numb to the plague that seems to only affect this country of ours that we know is great. We just expect to be great every day. Transition us into the guys bashing Ron McGill. What's up with that?
Okay, so yeah, this was wild. Friday. I'm like, I love the Dan Le Batard show. I think it's fantastic, but you hear it from the show, you see it on the Reddit some of people complaining about the show. Oh, it's not as good as it used to be, or some people going as far as like I can't even listen to it anymore. And at Viva Mas Vegas, there's a guy who's standing next to me on Friday, comes and says, "I'm just glad Ron McGill isn't here." And the way he said it like he thought Ron McGill was on the show yesterday. And I'm like, did you even watch yesterday? Ron McGill wasn't on the show. He's not normally on the show on Thursdays. He's normally on Tuesdays. So I don't know what this guy was saying, but he was saying, he said, "I hate Ron McGill. He is my least favorite person on the show." And I was like, this is the most ridiculous take I've ever heard by a fan. I want to stand around and just say, go walk. I almost knocked the football off the table. Go walk into
to the desert is what you should have said.
Yeah, go to Death Valley. There's a little lake at the bottom there. I keep getting Instagram reels there because I'm in Lancaster and they want me to go there. It was wild. He was bashing him and I'm like, dude, how can you, like, sure, maybe don't like the animal segment and you want more sports, whatever. But how can you not like Ron McGill and the passion that he brings and his willingness to just embarrass himself and do wild and like crazy things, and the ways that the show like interacts with him, tries to agitate him. Like, I love Ron McGill. I love that segment. And I just thought that was wild to hear someone at the show talk about how they hate Ron McGill. I'm like,
if you don't like Ron McGill, you aren't a person to be trusted.
I know. That shook me. But I was like, you know what? Everyone's entitled to their opinion, no matter how wrong it is. I'm not going to turn around and like get into some argument and ruin like my time here.
I don't know, Jim. I don't know.
This could
That's
be
not
for
an
the
opinion
game.
you're allowed to have. Were there any other notable observations of the crowd and the fans of the Le Batard show that you noticed?
I mean, I would say it was smaller than I thought it was going to be. I think the cold weather did like play into that. And it was a Thursday, Friday thing. So maybe it was hard for people to travel to. Like, I was fortunate enough that I'm on paternity leave right now. So I'm not working. I'm just taking care of kids. Although you could say I had more than enough reasons not to go. Because let me tell you, it doesn't feel like I'm not working with these kids here. But I was surprised by the size, which to me, though, again, honestly, to me, that's a little bit of a benefit.
Though, right?
If you absolutely like, I wish I would have stayed a little bit longer on Thursday to say like hi to Dan. Cause he was one, I didn't say hi to him. Cause, his line's always the longest, although I could have
4 hours
said hi. My mentality is I've already talked to Dan at a highlight match. I talked to him at Moss. So I just kind of like quick say hi to the people and give others like opportunity to talk to the show. I don't know.
That was nice to you. Look at you.
I wish.
Who's better than the Dan Lebatard fans? Look at that.
Mm-hmm. I wish I would have said hi to Dan on Thursday. Friday, his line was a lot longer. There was more people there, but still, like, could have been bigger, which to me, I'm like, shoot, if the show does another, like, Moss Miami is really big. There's a lot of people at Moss Miami.
Makes sense.
Like, if you're looking to meet the Lebatard show, I would look to meet them at an event that they announced that isn't Moss. Although I would also say at the same time, like, Moss is a blast because everybody's there. Amin, and other people. Pablo was at the last Moss. So there's benefits to both. Like, Moss is a big, huge party that lasts a really long time, but you're also going to spend a lot of time waiting to like talk to people at the show versus, you could just like, I just walked right up to like Mike Ryan and was like, hey, what's up, man? Great show. Which is another observation. It was cool to be there for Mike Ryan's like final shows as executive producer. He's like one of my, if not my favorite person on the show. So it was cool to just be a part of like his final shows, hear that. And of course the show talked about it and they're 100% absolutely right. Like the fact that Greg Cody, I was so impressed with his singing in that cold weather. Like it wasn't terrible. Blaine Gabbert, not terrible, right? Pretty good. And that was just a lot of fun that they had like a Vegas, band that was there playing. Like the thought that went into that show and the production, which is why it just bothers me that you see literally on that Thursday YouTube, you go through the comments, so many of it are just typical Lebatard and not just like, wow, this is the guests that they had, the thought that they had put into it. Like they could have just, it was a huge, massive stage. So many people up there, the thought that they put into it and to have Hee Haw 3, the band there, that was fantastic. That it really made such a part of the show. And on Friday, it was really cool to see everybody get up on that stage and Greg Cody sing It's a Lovely Cruise and see everybody, enjoy that and take in that moment and get to take in that moment with the show. So I think you gotta get yourself to one of these events, people.
I wanted to get to the Vegas one like that. And then when you were like so unsure about going, I was like, well, then I don't even got to look into it, which then colored me surprised. All right. So a few things before we wrap up on this Vegas thing. 3 questions. Number 1, did any of the show members know you and were able to recognize you out the gate? 2, what was my second question? Oh, out of all of the Dan Lebatard universe folks that weren't there, who do you think would have been the best addition to Viva Mas Vegas that didn't show up? And 3, all I got, 3, stop bitching about the cold, all right? I had 15 and a half inches of snow. And you over here talking about the fucking
Bryan.
cold.
It was cold.
You guys are so soft.
It was so
He was
cold.
dressed up in
I had to buy a jacket.
fur. Like, all right, my bad. So I guess it's really only 2 questions.
Look, for us folks, it was cold. Although I will say, like Friday, it wasn't cold at all. Thursday, and for most of Thursday, I would not consider it cold. But when they came back and did that final segment, it actually started to get windy, and you could hear it on the audio. It did like feel cold. That 40-degree wind, Bryan, it'll eat right through you.
No, that's perfect jacket and hoodie weather.
Was that your number 3? Be quiet about the cold?
Yeah, that was my number 3. But I want the first 2. Answer the first 2.
Okay.
Did anyone recognize you off the bat, and you didn't have to go, "Hey, it's me, Nathan"? They were like, "Oh, hey, Nathan." And 2, who do you wish was there that wasn't?
Yeah, Chris Cody recognized me. He like before the show started came up on the stage and was looking at the crowd, and then like he saw we made eye contact, and he like pointed me out, and then later in the show, like when I walked up to meet him, he saw me like in line, and he was like shouting like, "Is that the head of scouting for the set for the Cyclones?" Highlight stuff. And then we talked about the team, which maybe we'll get to, probably not though. Here we go, folks. Your God bless highlight little thing. Don't hit the panic button yet, people. Okay. Long season. Manu taking down Go Cherry. Whoa. That was like the most impressive Manu's ever played. If you've seen that. Go Cherry undefeated last season. Manu took him down, dog walked him in 3 sets, really controlled him. Best shot selection I've ever seen. Hashtag put Manu in your message to me, and you might increase your chances of winning something from the merch store. I did buy a God Bless Highlight bottle opener. Maybe I'll throw that in there too if we get enough messages from folks. But Chris Cody recognized me. Mike Bryan recognized me. Jess was like, "Have we met before?" And then I told her we met at Moss, and I'm part of the Fan Batard show. And then, yeah, I don't think Billy recognized me, but that
listen.
Yeah, that's
2.5 though.
Totally fine.
2.5, and one of them is your favorite. So that's pretty good.
Yeah,
Good job. Second question though.
Second question. Oh, I mean, look, I feel like this is an easy question. It's got to
one person. Don't say Amin.
Don't say Amin. I feel like it has to be Amin. Who else would you add if not Amin?
I just wanted something shocking.
Something shocking. I mean, the obvious answer is David Sampson. Right?
Who was the guy with the signs?
He was the guy who, I don't know, if you saw, I think Mike Ryan posted it on his stories. It was the guy who wore the Temu Tony Taylor shirt Tony? Or whatever. He had the Taylor sweater that he created.
That guy he's
so
fully into it.
He brought a bunch of signs the second day, had a bunch of stuff written up. There was another person who had signs. So he had a ton of signs. I
was trying to find you the whole, as much as they were on stage, my eyes were in the crowd. And I was like, I don't know what the hell the back of Nathan's head looks like.
Yeah.
I was like, I saw a bunch of
people.
I had this on like
one day. I had this on one day and then no hat the next day.
Oh, okay. All right. Because I mean, a real friend would have been like, "Hey, I'm wearing this. Keep an eye out for me." And oh well. Oh well. All right. So, is there any? How about this? Going forward, if they were to do another event like this, maybe, Mardi Gras. Maybe they go to Super Bowl next year. What would you like to see in next year's installment of a Super Bowl Moss event?
If they did it again, what would I like to see? I mean, I don't, they did such a good job. Like I can't think of like what's something that's missing or what would I like to see.
Nice.
I mean, it was good shows, good guests.
Yeah, if no complaints, then
no complaints.
I like that. I like that. They should use you as the testimonial for what you can expect for a Moss event put on by the Dan Le Batard Show.
Mm-hmm. I mean, again, if you love the Le Batard Show, you got to get out there because I think it's just what do we love about the Le Batard Show? We love that it's something that's fun, talks about sports in a fun way, And also, I think you get the sense that the people who are on the show enjoy each other, are normal people, are nice people. They enjoy each other's company. And as a podcast, you feel like you're brought into that community. So when you go, they do a great job of bringing you in. And on a little side note, even though God Bless Football didn't win any awards, for me, that's why I love God Bless Football, because it's another way that shows how the Batard show, did some of my breath there. The Batard show is a fun community that people want to be a part of. One of my favorite things about God Bless Football is every year, like, who are they going to add that becomes like a friend? Austin Eckler, Mostert. I enjoy them forming those relationships. And now Bubba Wallace might become a regular on
it's not Bubba Watson?
Oh, Bubba Watson. Yeah, sorry. I don't know golf. I've said that's pretty good. I got the B and the W correct.
Bubba Wallace is the NASCAR driver, bro.
Oh yeah. So he might become a regular, but that's why you got to go, is be a part of the fan community. Other fans are there. They're great. I had a good conversation with a guy who was from Vegas, said hi to Steak Sauce, some of the Lauer After Hours folks that are there. So just being a part of the Le Batard Show community as well. It's a blast. You got to go. All right.
That's dope. One of the things that I think the Le Batard Show does that's unique to this show is the sense of community that you not only get with its listeners, but how there's a very fine line. And I think sometimes that's a detriment to their privacy. I know Mike Ryan has joked, but kind of not joked, but joked about sometimes, hey, don't talk to me when you see me out in public. Because sometimes people feel like they know you because we know about your nipples. Like, we know a lot about you. Right? I listen to a lot of podcasts. I don't know about Stephen A. Smith's nipples. I don't know about Gilbert Arenas' nipples because they don't talk about it. So if I see them, I'm going to keep it basketball, right? Hey, I love what you're doing. Keep going, player. But with y'all, I know intimate details about y'all. So it feels intimate. But I think that line being so blurry also allows us to become fans of, like you said, the people that they bring onto their shows. Like, I didn't know who the heck Sebastian Maniscalco. I don't know who that was. But because he gets kind of co-signed by the people that I kind of do like, then therefore, by extension, I'm going to keep an eye out for you. You know, you mentioned Mostert. You mentioned Eckler. I never cared for Eckler. I never cared for Mostert. I didn't hate him. Didn't have any issue. Just impartial. They're another football players. But now I'm rooting for him. When before, I was impartial to him. So in this media age, there's this new age media where you're seeing more athletes in front of mics ever. I like that you're starting to find out more about the individual, and therefore you see them as individuals and not just as stats on a fantasy roster lineup or numbers on a jersey. So salute to the Dan Le Batard Show. Salute to everyone that had a part in putting together Viva Mas Vegas. Salute to you from being boots on the ground. Kind of disappointed that you ain't pull out no footage. You didn't, like, you were supposed to, that dude who spoke about Ron McGill, he should have been on tape. We should have had his face. You should have been airing him out, but I get it. It was a family retreat. Maybe the next time when it's a little bit more business, I understand. And hopefully the next one, your boy's there too, and we can get it in.